3D Reindeer Who Has Lights in His Antlers Acrylic Nailer Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish. Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be doing a simple little reindeer that actually has lights wrapped around his antlers, and so this was a lot of fun, and I'm also going to be using that reindeer technique on a video that's going to be on my other channel when I get there eventually. So when that is on there, I'll put a link to it in the description box. That's going to include minions and a tree. It's all very exciting. So I hope you like this, and don't forget to click subscribe to see my future videos as well. So I'm going to start with a light blue overlay, and that Minion video I mentioned in the intro, I said reindeer technique. That doesn't really make any sense. It's actually the light technique. I made a bigger string of lights to wrap around the Christmas tree for my minions, and that video, the first part, is actually uploaded this evening as well, and so I'll put a link to that in the description box and around the video, and the second part of it is going to be uploaded tomorrow. So definitely check out my second channel. It's my art channel, and watch those videos because I am very happy with the way those minions turned out. It is pretty fantastic. So then I'm going to be covering up the light blue with a layer of clear acrylic just to add some strength. Like I said, I love the Minions. My dad is a Minion fan. He's a huge Minion fan. We actually quote the Minions all the time. Like in the most random situations, all of a sudden my dad and I go, bottom, hee hee, for who knows where. It doesn't make any sense. There's no context. We just both do that. And there's other, strange people. So then I filed the nail with a 180 grit file and then buffed it with a 240, and now adding a layer of gel sealer and curing this. And so minions are a huge part of our lives. So when I sculpted the minions, it was a pretty big event in my household. And so now I'm going to be on a nail form backing sculpting out the antlers. That's the first thing I'm going to be doing. So with brown, I just laid that down, and then I'm going to pull them into this really long U shape. So it's wide and relatively flat, but has that nice curve at the bottom. And then I'm going to be adding 2 beads, one on either side, just like that, and then let them set for just a second. Add a little bit at the bottom and sort of blend that up in. That's going to the bottom one is going to attach to his head, but then that top bead, once it's about matte, you're going to want to split that into 2 sections to create a 6-point deer. And then I'm just going to add a little more acrylic to those ends just to make sure that they're long enough and that it's going to be strong enough once you start assembling. Just like that, with just a little bit more of that brown acrylic, not too much. And I'm also going to touch up the points if I think it was necessary. So now I have a small piece of wire, and I'm just holding that against the nail form, and I'm going to be sculpting out little lights. And to do this, I just placed a bead down and sort of pulled it out a little bit. And also you're going to want to kind of create an eyeball shape with it, or a football shape, or a petal shape. There's lots of things that are that pointy-ended shape. So just sort of pull it, and then after a second, sort of pinch in at the bottom or at the base. And make sure you're sculpting these on the wire. You don't want them to be next to the wire. And I don't know about you, but my wire didn't really like to stay flush against the nail form. I had to sort of really use a reasonable amount of pressure to hold it there, make sure that it wasn't going to just pop off. And so I rotated with colors. I used green, orange, blue, yellow, and red. I don't know if I used any more colors than that. I'll see in a second once it shows up. But I think those are the colors that I used. So pretty much the only color that I'm missing for doing secondary primary is purple. And you could definitely do purple. I don't know why I didn't. Yeah, go ahead, use purple. So I didn't use purple apparently. But other than that, it's 5 colors. And I just went back and forth with all of them going. I kept with the same pattern, but you want to make sure that you go back and forth so you make one above the wire, one below the wire, above, below, and so on and so forth. And I'm just going to sculpt them all the way to the end. Look at how much or how big your antlers are and make sure you don't make them too big. Mine were on the larger side. I would not want them any bigger than they are. So just make sure that you keep that in mind. And then with black acrylic, just add a little bit on like the bottom at the wire, the bottom of the light at the wire, so that it really is going to attach to the wire, and so it's not going to pop off as soon as you try to take them off. And it's also going to just give it a little bit more of a light look, because lights all, they've got the little base on them where they screw in. And so I'm just going to make sure that that's on there as well. You could also use silver for this. For the Minion lights, I use silver. And also for the Minion lights, I use the same size wire, but I made each bulb significantly larger. So that's how I made the lights for the minions. And then for this video, for the antlers, I'm going to be wrapping the antlers up in the wire. And this was a little bit tricky, and I had a lot more lights left than what I needed, but that was okay. I just sort of let them off to the sides, and I thought it was fine. And just like that, I didn't think that was an issue at all. I liked the way it looked, so I was fine with it, but I did trim off the excess wire that was beyond the lights. So then I laid down a piece or a little bead of glow of the bronze acrylic, and I set my antlers and the lights in there and just held them on. That bronze acrylic is going to be the glue, and let that set for just a moment. And then I'm going to be sculpting out the rest of my reindeer. So I am still using the bronze acrylic and still using my small sculpting brush. And I'm going to begin with his head. And this is a very similar design technique and similar styling as the deer fawn video that I made a while ago. And so that one, I kind of like this where, you know, you see him from the side and his head is a little bigger. It's kind of cartoony. It's really cute and sweet looking. So then I'm going to be adding his body below and then stretching up that section up into his head to add his neck, and then adding his back legs. So you want to make sure you add his back legs first, because after you put in the back legs, then I'm going to highlight the stomach, and I use sort of a warm orangey gold color, and then I'll add the front legs on top of it. And so the back legs are first, and they go pretty much straight down, so they're relatively perpendicular to his body and to the nail, the tip of the nail. So there's your two legs, and I'm also going to be adding his tail. And I know with the bronze acrylic, because it does have a shimmer and it's not quite as opaque as some other colors, that the smaller pieces like the tail and the ears don't seem to show up as well, especially in the video. But once I start adding the outlines and the highlights in a moment, then all of those details are really going to show up, and they're not going to just sort of blend like they do at the moment. So then, as I said, I'm going to be adding sort of a warm orangey gold color to his tummy just to highlight it a little bit. Just like that. It looks pretty orange in the video, but it's kind of, like I said, it's an orangey gold. It's a warm gold color. And then I'm going to be adding his red nose. You wouldn't have to give him a red nose if you wanted him to be just a generic reindeer and not so Rudolphy, then you can give him a black nose instead. But then I'm going to be adding those front legs. So like I said, back legs, tummy, front legs, and let each of those pieces dry between adding another layer to them. And the front legs are angled back just a little bit, so don't make those straight down, because otherwise they're just going to be right on top of the other ones. So just, like I said, angle them back. And now using white paint, I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of highlighting. So I'm going to highlight each light bulb as least as much as I can see. Adding his eyes, and then a little highlight on his nose, on his ears, on the bottom of the ears, because they've got like the white ear hair, the bottom of the tail, and then diluted a little highlight on the tummy. And then with black, I'm going to be doing the rest of the outlines. So with the black, I'm not really over outlining, I'm just outlining where I think it's necessary. So here and there, little bits, just to make sure that it's really easy to see and it's not. Sometimes it's just a color against a color. You can see it and you can see what it is, and it's not necessarily not able to tell, but adding a little black outline here and there really makes it just that much easier. And also you want to paint the bottom of each leg black for the hoof, and then outlining the ears, just like that. Adding the pupils. I made mine cross-eyed. I like making my creatures cross-eyed. I think it gives them so much personality, but if you didn't want it to be quite so strange, that's obviously optional. And then I went back with the diluted white paint and I highlighted the antlers. And now with gel sealer, I'm just going to add sort of a dusting of it over the top of my reindeer. I don't want him to be overly shiny, but I do want to protect the acrylic paint, and so I didn't want it to be doused in it, just, you know, a little dusting. And so that is it. Thank you so much for watching this, and definitely check out the Minion videos as well as my other channel where I post painting videos and sculpting and other artsy stuff, so check that as well, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!